Well, the 20-0 dream is dead. What's going on, everybody? It is Monday. We just got done with a devastating loss on the road to the Baltimore Ravens. This is podcast 1558. We are going over our Week 2 recap. I got Justin Herrera here with me today. Matt Bird is out saving the world, and we are coping how we cope. As I said, the 20-0 dream is dead. It has been doom and gloom in the city. If you weren't able to unplug from your mainstream, wherever you go, 610, 810, it has not been a fun day in Kansas City. Justin, 36-35 loss on the road against a team that I know you and I were very confident that we should get a win, strictly because obviously Baltimore is a good team. We know Baltimore is a good team, but we also know that they are in rough shape from a health standpoint. We thought we had all the right matchups defensively to do what we've done in the past. Tell me your take of the game. What went wrong for us?
I mean, I think the main focal point for me has got to be the defense. When it came to, can we make that play? Can we stop that run? We weren't able to do it. We knew what they were going to do, and unfortunately, it wasn't there that night. Now, I don't want to make it sound all doom and gloom because, it's a bummer. We expected to win this game. But we all have also faced, two of the best rushing attacks in the NFL. I think you could also lump in, Tennessee, which I'm sure, that's another beast. But those are two good running teams that we've gone up against, elite running teams. And so, we gave up yards on the ground, but I'm not ready to just say Rome is burning and we're all it's a tailspin now. But I think it's kind of like Tyrann Matthew said, sometimes a good old fashioned ass whooping is the best thing for you, and they're gonna get back, they're gonna hit the drawing board, and they're gonna correct a lot of the mistakes that I think that they ran into.
Yeah, I did hear Tyrann Matthew say sometimes you need to get your ass whooped, and I started thinking, we just got our ass whooped 2 real games ago, and we said, okay, that we're coming back. It's the revenge tour. We're going to, yada, yada, yada. I get it. He is the leader. You got to say certain things. Was there anything in particular jumped off the screen for you defensively from the Chiefs last night?
I've got to say, it was setting the edge when it came to stopping Lamar Jackson. You know what he's going to do. Set the edge on him, force him to go inside, in between the tackles, have Lamar Jackson run into the biggest guys on the field. If you're letting him get outside, that's no good. So the Chris Jones on the outside, I like that he's got 2 sacks from game 1. But you've got to set the edge. That's important. You've got to be able to contain Lamar, who is going to run. That's what he does best. And it's not even close. So I would say that's probably my biggest takeaway is just not being able to properly set the edge in that game.
Oh, man. Because for me, it is a lot to unpack. What was most irritating for me is that Baltimore knew exactly how to make Chris Jones look like a fool playing outside. And for anyone seeing this that for whatever reason doesn't understand what's going on with Chris Jones, we just got done paying this man a ton of money for what he has accomplished from the defensive tackle position, and in most circles, most people would agree that it's in pecking order from defensive tackle in this league. It's Aaron Donald, and then it's Chris Jones. And Chris Jones earned the money we gave him. And now we are taking this behemoth of a person and moving him from the inside of the line to the outside. something that was kind of spun to us in the offseason as something they were going to do here and there, give him the ability to have this hybrid role. And last night, NBC did a great job of letting everyone know how dumb he looked at times. Baltimore knew it. The Chiefs could not identify that he was on an island a lot last night. Chris Jones recorded 0 solo tackles. They figured it out so fast how to run away from him, or run a zone scheme towards him that confused him. He was just not in his place. And against a team like that we have beaten in the past, and it seems with more ease every time we have played them, this seemed like the type of game Chris Jones needed to be moved inside, especially as they were just tearing us apart right up the middle. This team ran for over 250 yards as a team. Lamar Jackson over 100 on his own. And Chris Jones doesn't record 1 solo tackle playing anywhere on this defensive line against a running first team. Everything you need to know is that the 3 leading tacklers on this team last night were Anthony Hitchens, Nick Bolton, and Dan Sorensen. That's everything you need to know, that this defensive line got ran around and ran through all night. And Jarran Reed, who I love the signing of Jarran Reed. What everyone loved the most about this signing, and we talked about this a lot this offseason, what we liked the most about the Jarran Reed signing is that he would be playing next to Chris Jones, that this would be Chris's best interior neighbor that he's had in his time at Kansas City. And then we moved him away from Reed. So what you're telling me is you paid this defensive tackle all of this money to effectively take a demotion at that position from a team. That position group, we have allowed it to get worse by moving him outside. You know, I heard some people say, well, if Chris isn't out there, who is? Who was out there when he was playing inside 99% of the time? It was Frank Clark and a mix of other guys like Dana and like Taco, which I know is gone, but Okafor. Chris doesn't have to be outside because of lack of depth. He's never been out there, and we have gotten through it. We have just gotten on a team that has struggled to stop the run for years now, just got softer voluntarily inside. And that was the biggest head scratcher for me. I won't just stay on that topic this whole time, but to me, against a team like Baltimore, you have to win inside. They looked like fools. They got thrown around. A battered up offensive line. Alejandro Villanueva, I feel like one of us could get lucky on a snap. Chris Jones, like I said, 0 solo tackles. The other thing, and I'll get your opinion on this, Justin, that I've been hearing a lot of people upset about is the amount of snaps Dan Sorensen, who I said he was 3rd in tackles last night with 7. What is your take with him being on the field and just we're not seeing Juan Thornhill is the complaint? What is your opinion on Sorensen getting all these reps?
I don't think it's because they think Dan Sorensen has more potential than Juan Thornhill. I certainly don't think it's that. There's something going on. I don't know what it is. If it's lingering from the injury, if it's just it's not firing on all cylinders. Like after his rookie season, we all thought like this is it. Like we found our future safety. And now he's playing behind Dan Sorensen. And don't get me wrong, yes, Dan Sorensen, I love having him on the team. I love that he finds ways to make plays to close out a game. But the problem is, like, he shouldn't be option number 2. Like, it should be Tyrann Mathieu. It should be Juan Thornhill. That's plain and simple. Like, that's why you drafted him as high as you drafted him. And he's not playing. So, I mean, I would love to be a fly on the wall, you know, in those safeties or, like, defensive back meeting rooms to find out ultimately what's going on. Like, is it not clicking on the playbook? What? I don't know what it is. But, like, I think at some point in time, we're going to get an answer for that. Because he's either going to continue playing less than Sorensen, which is a gigantic problem, or he's going to make his way back into it, and then we're going to say, like, oh, well, maybe he was just still, like, recovering from that injury. It's still hard to come back from. So, yeah, I don't know, man.
That seems to be the consensus that everyone is thinking right now. I have a little bit of a different take on this. Going back to kind of what you had said, these first 2 weeks have been against a very specific type of offense, one that we don't like to play against. We don't like these run-heavy teams because we're just not going to stop them. The linebacker position being part of that reason. But as far as Dan Sorensen goes, let's not forget, this man led the team in tackles last year for a reason. He doesn't play center field as a safety. He isn't playing a ball hawk position at safety like Juan Thornhill would be doing. And these are the types of teams that we have really preferred to dare them to throw the ball. We want Baker Mayfield throwing the ball rather than Chubb and Hunt just going nonstop. We want Lamar Jackson throwing the ball by any means necessary. We want that ball coming out of his hand. And we got to dare them to do it sometimes. So, they're a team that you have to have that extra box guy or line. We got Ben Neiman on the field as much as you do. Sorensen has to get up there and help stop the run. I really think this was a stylistic decision as far as that offense. Same with last week. I think you see Juan Thornhill out there a lot more next week. Because Justin Herbert is going to be throwing that rock. And Sorensen is not that athlete that can play center field like that and really track down the ball. Juan is, and I would imagine Chargers run the ball quite a bit next week, but we will see. That's my thing. I'm not going to get on Dan Sorensen. I think he has to be in there. He is more of a hammer than Juan Thornhill is. Juan Thornhill is damn near a corner.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I obviously there's something not entirely right with Juan Thornhill. He had 11 snaps last night, but I also think it has something to do with the type of offense we were playing. But we will certainly see here come week 3.
One other thing that I wanted to kind of talk about as well. And I really hate to give credence to this notion that, like, hey, if you want to stop the Chiefs, all you have to do is be able to run the football and keep Patrick Mahomes off the field. It's not like Lamar Jackson had a fantastic evening throwing the football. 18 of 26, 239, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Patrick Mahomes, 24 of 31, 343, 3 touchdowns, and 1 really uncharacteristic.
Really bad pick.
Bad pick. But, I mean, if you were just to look at the quarterback stats, you'd be like, oh, Mahomes we whooped their ass, right? Like, we whooped them. But, like, no, that's not the case. They ran, you said, for about, what was it, 235 roughly?
251.
251. And then the thing I thought was kind of like the biggest, like, really kind of gave credence to that whole, like, hey, if you just run the ball and keep them off the field, that can really have an impact, was in the fourth quarter, like, Baltimore got the ball with like around 11 minutes on the clock, and then when they scored that touchdown, it was about 3 minutes left on the clock, and then they just kept flashing like over to like Patrick Mahomes. He was just sitting there on like the sidelines like he was Steph Curry, just chewing on his mouthpiece. Like there was nothing that he could do, and like they came back and they went out and tried, but it's like if the less opportunities you give them, it kind of showed to work because like. As far as like passing is concerned, like quarterback duel, Mahomes won.
Yeah, yeah, he did. Patrick had a night. Yeah, but like you said, just 251 rushing yards. They ate up lots of clock when they wanted to, and we just very uncharacteristic interception from Patrick. And with the defense playing like this, you can't afford to make very many mistakes at all, and we made two very big mistakes. Had a couple of big penalties. Tyrann Mathieu got hit with one that I thought was very ticky-tack. We saw the refs really get involved in some things all weekend. They really didn't need to be. So the refs are still ironing out their off-season wrinkles, and it is what it is with that. But yes, not Patrick's worst night by any means, but still did not come out the way we wanted to. What the last thing I want to touch on this defense, and we've spoke to this at length this offseason, is how top-heavy, salary-wise, this team is. 25% of our salary goes to this defensive line. And then we wonder why the hell there's no one capable of playing edge. Because Chris Jones and Frank Clark have all of the money. And we don't even like one of those guys all of a sudden. I get it, he wasn't an outstanding citizen in the offseason, but we have really cranked up the hate for Frank Clark. It seems like not very many people excited to have him around and very much looking forward to him being gone. If we have problems at defensive end, we need all the Frank Clark we can get right now. I just, definitely going to open up some money. It is as bad as the defense looked. I think this week will tell a lot. If the Chargers, of all teams, that are kind of, I would say, offensively, damn near identical to the Chiefs. Yeah. Damn near identical. Austin Eckler, you're only getting the most out of him when you're throwing him the ball, which is what we ultimately want to see more out of Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Clyde had 13 rushes for 46 yards last night. That's Austin Eckler can do more damage than that, but he is very dangerous when they are throwing him the ball. If the Chargers decide to abandon the passing game to spite us, we have a big, big problem on our hands because we really only want to run into that problem with teams that can run. If teams that can kind of run start running on us at will, we're just back in 2018 again. And we all know how that ends. And now we're just less talented on the offensive side of the ball than we were in 2018. So, I don't know. I'd like to say this defense can be fixed. I'm very interested to see this new style of offense to go against next week, but it could be a blow-it-up scenario outside of Chris Jones. As far as major contracts go in this offseason, Tyrann Mathieu may not be around if they really think they have to start over. And that could... I see people calling for Spags. That's not me.
Yeah, I don't think...
I am not one of those people.
I don't want to see any of that. Like, I tweeted out there was, like, shades of, like, a Bob Sutton defense, right? Because it looked like at a certain point, they just looked like they were gassed. It was like that bend, don't break. And that was kind of, like... It was an ugly sight. And to kind of touch on your point where you're talking about, like, looking at potentially, like, who's going to be here, who's not going to be here, what kind of salary cap implications are they going to have? Like, when you look at 2022, I mean, we're talking about potentially releasing Frank Clark, Anthony Hitchens. I can't see them saying, like, all right, and we're going to also get rid of Tyrann Mathieu. Frank Clark he'll be in the fourth year of the contract. He has a $26.3 million cap hit. He's the highest on the team. Anthony Hitchens is going to be at 12.73. And I think at that point they're going to look at Willie Gay and Nick Bolton. And Nick Bolton looks pretty damn good. Like, as a rookie, like, I'm not mad at that pick at all right now. So I just can't necessarily see them saying, like, hey, get rid of Frank, get rid of Anthony, or get rid of Hitchens, and then also then get rid of, like, that. There's three, like, leaders that you're now getting rid of, and now you're saying, like, let's really start over.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, I'd say, I can see Clark and Hitchens going. I can see them re-signing Tyrann Mathieu. He did still, he wasn't in week 1, but week 2, 2 interceptions, one of which being a pick 6. I'm not mad at that at all.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right.
No.
The defense, we've got to look to bring Chris Jones back into the middle to kind of circle that wagon. But
and we have got to figure out how to draft better defensively. It is the problem right now. If second rounders like Juan Thornhill and Nick Bolton aren't getting on the field at all times, I'll even give Nick Bolton more slack. He's on the field right now doing a very good job for being a rookie. He's obviously making his mistakes. But when we're not seeing these early round picks produce, then start using them on offense. Start drafting early receivers, and then take your shots at the L'Jarius Sneeds of the world. We didn't use a second round pick to find Sneed, but this second round pick on the sideline is being chosen. Sorensen is being chosen over him, and like I said, maybe that's got to do with the style of game. But either way, it shouldn't matter. Colin Saunders, third round pick. He doesn't do anything on this team. They tried to tell us he was some freak athlete, like he was going to be Chris Jones.
He was the backflip king, right? Like that was, you know what I mean? So it's like you've got to get productivity out of especially positions on the line. Like you always hear him say, games are won and lost in the trenches, and last night certainly was lost in the trenches.
Absolutely. Well, I think that's a good place to leave. Let's get away from last night. It's done. It's over with. Patrick Mahomes is still the quarterback in Kansas City. This season is not in jeopardy by any means. I'm not concerned. I know that this is a playoff team. That did not change last night. Football starts for us mid to late November. That's when we really need to button down the hatches and make a run for it. The things weren't collapsing in Buffalo last week when they lost. They've got Josh Allen. They know everything's going to be fine. They came out yesterday and they smacked Miami in the face. A lot of good 1-1 teams right now is what I'm saying, and they're not melting down after an early loss. We just aren't used to it. Pat hasn't lost in September. This is an ugly loss. We still have the ball there at the end, can win, and something that doesn't generally happens. It's a hard pill to swallow, but maybe a necessary pill to swallow. Get it done early in the season. This team has all the leadership in the world. If it can stay healthy, we know that we are going to be fine. They need to come up with a better plan for this type of team, because it is guaranteed you're going to see Cleveland, Baltimore, or Tennessee in these playoffs. Yep. All of which do that one thing very, very, very well. And that's something that we can't stop. Well, that will do it for this recap. Sorry for the doom and gloom, but it is coming back, Chiefs Kingdom. We are going to turn this thing around next week at Arrowhead against the Chargers. For Matt Bird and Justin Herrera, I am Billy Truelove. This is Podcast 1558. We are out. Go Chiefs.